Hi, everybody. Happy Thursday to you. It is Thursday, March 10th. And today I wanted to come on and talk to you about resistance and procrastination and how that shows up in your life, because I know for a fact that this is a problem I know it's a problem for me, and I know it's a problem for most people, because when there is something that you fear doing, chances are you should be doing that thing. So if there's fear around you, for example, going live on Facebook like this, chances are maybe you should do it if you have a really good message. This procrastination and resistance showed up for me when I started writing my book back in 2014. And I have a funny story about this, because I grabbed my computer and I went outside. I have a pergola out back in my backyard, and I went out back and I got really comfortable in the chair underneath the pergola, and I started to open my computer and I started to type, and it was literally like the first time that I sat down to start writing my book. And I didn't have an outline yet, and I just sat there, and then all of a sudden I started to look around, and I looked at the what are they called, the bench. I have like a couch outside, and I looked at the chair next to me and the cushion, and it had some leaves on it or something. So I like brushed it off. And then I looked over the other side, and there were leaves on that side. So I was like, okay, I brushed that side off. And after about 30 minutes, I literally woke up and I realized what I was doing. I completely stopped what I was doing. I put my computer down, I quit writing, because I felt like there was something better to be doing, which was cleaning that area. So let me back up and tell you what happened, like the mental process of what happened. As I sat down to write, I sat there, and this little voice inside of my head popped up, and it said, "What are you doing? What are you even going to write about? Do you even know what you're going to say here? You don't have an outline." And I got so overwhelmed in that moment when I started to write my book that I completely just stopped what I was doing, and I decided to clean instead, because I thought that maybe if that outdoor area was clean and perfect, then I would be okay, and I would be in the right mindset to really just brain dump all the information that I wanted to talk about in my book. And that didn't happen. So flash forward, I'm out there, and I literally like took all the couches and I moved them out of the way, and I went to the garage and I got one of those push brooms, and I started cleaning the whole pergola, all the stuff that was underneath there. And it hit me like something, like a ton of bricks. It just hit me in the head. Liz, you are procrastinating right now. And I actually just burst out laughing, because it's like I stepped out of myself and saw myself sitting there cleaning when my computer is sitting right over there, and I should have been writing. And I talked to, some people about this at the yoga studio, and I've mentioned that, in classes with people about, when we're talking about procrastination, or when we come up with a theme for one of our classes. And it was really funny, because it just hit me, like a ton of bricks. I was completely putting off what I needed to be doing, and I chose something else instead. And, procrastination and fear and resistance, these things are going to show up in your life around the things that you want to be doing. I wanted to be writing my book so much more than I wanted to be cleaning. But there was that fear inside of me, or that resistance. And that resistance can show up in so many different ways for you, especially if you, you know, here's just a couple of examples. Resistance can show up by, you know, being a negative voice in your head. Resistance can show up by making you a perfectionist so that you won't even get started on doing what you need to be doing until everything is perfect. All of your ducks are aligned and you can just knock everything out at once. Well, that's not ever going to happen because nothing is ever perfect. So, the thing is that time goes on and we age. And I know so many people that have, they've aged and they look back and they say, I wish I would have done this, or I wish I wouldn't have done this, or spent so much time doing this, and the older we get, we realize this, all of us, we do. We're not, for those of us that are like in our 30s, we have learned some lessons the hard way because maybe back in the day we made some choices that weren't the best choices. And, time doesn't wait on us. It just keeps going. So time will keep passing you by day after day after day. And if you have this idea or you have a goal on your heart and it's something that you really want to do, then you need to do it. You need to here's my tip, just show up. Because when you show up, that is you telling the universe, telling yourself, your inner spirit, telling yourself that I am ready to start this process. And, that's when going to the gym, going to writing a book, going to a yoga class, doing anything new is new for you. And it's out of your comfort zone. So you just simply have to show up for yourself. You have to show up for this thing. When I first started Figure Fit back in 2014, I was so excited to help people with health and fitness. And I was so excited to help people lose weight, get fit, start meditating, break bad habits. And I didn't even really think about breaking bad habits. Here's what Figure Fit focused on: working out, eating right, and meditation. And the reason I chose meditation, because meditation, when you've got this right, everything else will fall into place. When you can really get this thing right, your brain, your mindset, everything else, your ability to choose the right foods, your ability to not turn to food for comfort or not eat out of boredom, your mindset is everything. So when I first started Figure Fit, this was one of the things that I was so excited about. And then what happened was people would sign up and they would be so excited. They'd be so gung-ho to start. And then they would be like, first 2 weeks, they'd be in it. And then all of a sudden they would disappear. And they had goals and they had ambitions and they had a before photo and they wanted that after photo, but they would just simply fall off. And I was like, what happens? Why does this happen to them? And it was really one of the things that I started to reach out to people and say, what is it? What is making you stop? And then I started reading books on habits. I started reading books on how to break or recreate patterns in our brain. And a new habit is hard. It's hard to create one. And it's not as hard as people make it out to be, though, because what it requires is consistency. You have to show up day after day after day and make a new choice for these new habits. Because if you sign up for something, for anything, whether it's, a gym membership, a program like mine, whether you want to write a book, whether, whatever the case, you want to play the guitar, whatever it is for you, you have to show up. And when you show up day after day after day, that new thing, creating that new habit, just starts to happen because your brain is so amazing at helping you to create new neural pathways. When you start something new, it's a shock to your body, to your brain, but when you start something new and you keep doing it, your brain starts to see, oh, this is a new normal. And it starts to reprogram the mind. And outside of that, completely, is the new experience of that thing that you're doing. It's a new experience. You leave from that new experience and you're energized. I like to say that your soul is so alive that it's just like really excited because you just did something that you wanted to do. And you just poured in. I like to envision like the body and this little like pitcher. And we've got, over the years of life, we have been heartbroken. We have been maybe told we weren't good enough to do something. Maybe we just were really, rejected with certain things in our lives. And we start to develop these, idiosyncrasies, these beliefs in our brain that we're not good enough, that we're not worthy. And I see this a ton with men and women who have come to my yoga studio or who I have worked with privately in private appointments or with private coaching, who have been married and feel just closed off to the world. Maybe they tried so hard to be a certain way for their partner, and they weren't really allowed or the experience to, blossom into who they truly wanted to be, because that other person, as that person would want to grow, that would be threatening to the relationship and they would just get pushed back down. So I've seen that, with good friends, really good friends, with family members and clients. And that is just something that, our soul really longs to experience, and it longs to grow and evolve and do new things. So when we have something that we want to do, resistance is going to show up for you in a couple of different ways. It's going to show up in the form of fear. It's going to show up for you in the form of like procrastination. And you may show up, but then you may procrastinate, like I did when I first started writing my book. And I just wanted to come on today and talk to you guys about this and see, who out there deals with this, because I know that people do. I know that I'm not the only one. I have some ladies in my private member community, men and women, who recently brought this up. They said that they overthink everything, and their overthinking prevents them from even getting started. So I want to ask you, do you find yourself procrastinating with things that you should be doing? And how does resistance show up for you in your life? Because it's there. And one of my favorite books on resistance is called The War of Art, not the Art of War. And this guy, Stephen Pressfield, what an amazing title he chose. I mean, that was like really smart on his part. The War of Art. And he talks about procrastination big time and how that shows up for you in your life. So if that is something that you are dealing with, I would recommend that book to you. I'd say go out to audible.com and get it on audio so you can listen to it, or just pick it up on Amazon. For my podcasters, I have worked out a free book on Audible, and you can just go to figurefitfreebook.com and you can download that book if you don't have an Audible account. And speaking of Audible, I am super excited because I was recording my own books, which I ended up writing that book. So the beginning of this video, for those of you that are new, I did talk about how resistance showed up for me mega in the beginning of me writing my book. But this is now 2 years later. My book's done. It's published. It's here. I have a hard copy of it. I also recorded the book for audible.com. So for those of you who are interested in getting my book, you can get it and you can listen to it. I love listening to audiobooks when I'm doing laundry in the morning. I just throw my earbuds in and fold laundry, put laundry away. It's perfect. Once again, that is figurefitfreebook.com, and that will include any book that's on Audible. My book should be on there within a couple of days and also on iTunes. So for those of you who want to listen to my book, head to figurefitfreebook.com. And it's also on Amazon. I have not done a full official release yet because I'm going to kick it off with a book signing at my yoga studio, but the book's out there. You guys can go out and purchase my book. It's done. I do cover mindset, gut health, and fitness, and how to work out the right way, how to boost your metabolism, how to fix your digestive health, and how to get motivated and how to show up for yourself and your goals. And that's all discussed in my book. So I would love it if you picked it up. But you guys, that is all I have for you today, I think. Let me actually check my notes. Oh, no, I've got something else to say. So this is big, and this is something that I really want to bring your awareness to because I think that it's really important. It's something that you may not realize. For some people out there, they ask me after a yoga class, or friends will say, how do I hear my spirit? How do I know when it's my intuition? That's a good question. And, you know, I believe that your spirit is talking to you, and it's always in a beautiful way. And it's never, never, never in a way that is, taking you down and saying that you're ugly or stupid or fat or you're not good enough or you're not ready. That's all your ego. Your spirit is always encouraging you to be your best self. And that also shows up when you might be doing something that you shouldn't be doing. A couple examples. Maybe you're sitting there eating chips or something, and you get that urge, that your brain tells you, stop, and you don't listen and you keep going. Your spirit is tapping you, going, hey, what you're doing is not good for you. Stop. It also shows up for you in things like inspiration. When you see something, you're like, you know what? That looks fun. I should do that. And yeah, you should give it a try. Like I said earlier, your soul, your spirit, it longs to do these new experiences because that's where it grows and that's how it experiences life. And in my opinion, and it's not just my opinion, there's many, many, many thousands of spiritual teachers across the globe who talk about God living in us as us. You know, my favorite author is Elizabeth Gilbert, and she wrote the book Eat, Pray, Love. And there's a line in there where she talks about what she said, that God is alive in you as you. And another book, Conversations with God, it's the same. He says the same thing in that book, Neil Diamond Walsh. He says that God is alive in us, that we are all one. And so, you know, we all need to realize this, that we're all really, truly connected, and we're all one, that we all have a spirit inside of us that is longing to experience life and experience great things and do great things. So I want you to begin to notice those little taps on the shoulder from your spirit and from your God within, because that is who you are. That's who you long to be. And notice when resistance is stepping up and putting you into a headlock, because it will. And just start to show up for those things that you want to be doing. And any sort of change that you want in your life, it always begins with you simply just showing up. And one of my favorite things to do is stop, drop, and meditate. Because when you notice these things that you're doing, when you notice that little tap on the shoulder from your spirit, that inner guide that is trying to talk to you, and you're doing something that maybe isn't in your best interest, stop, drop, and meditate. stop what you're doing, stop eating the cookies, stop surfing Facebook, stop scrolling through Twitter, and just stop and go think about why you're doing it. What are you gaining from it? Is it really truly helping you? Could you be doing something better with your time? Are you just wasting time? And that's where you're really going to start strengthening that inner voice and that line to your spirit, because your brain, your spirit are connected. Your brain and your ego are connected, and you cannot serve two masters. So the more you serve your spirit, the more and the louder that voice will become for you. Okay, so I want to hear from you guys. Comment below and just let me know what your biggest takeaway is from today's message. And if you have anything to add, I would love to hear it. And I use a couple of different hashtags. So if you are viewing this on Twitter, use the hashtag meditate with Liz or live true, LIVTRU, live true. Those are some of my favorite hashtags that are really like spiritual things that I might say on Twitter. So I definitely just want to hear from you guys. So let me know what your biggest takeaway is from today, or if you had an aha moment. Okay, that's all I got for today, guys. Have a fantastic Thursday night, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.